Well, I think I've had the opportunity to meet everyone in this room, but thank you for having me this morning. Barry Bratz, new district attorney. I just took office on Monday of last week, so been in the office here for about a week and a half. I know I've spoken to several folks since the middle of November through December. I was here in the office a couple days a week, or as much as I could, while still working full-time in Fond du Lac as well. And Mark Benson was gracious enough to welcome me into the office, give me that opportunity to learn from him on how the office functions. Certainly helped with the transition, gave me a leg up, but certainly the last week and a half has been incredibly busy. The way the DA's office here in Washington County functions, the way cases come through, the way cases are distributed amongst the attorneys in the office, very different than how it was done in Fond du Lac. So still learning, but I'm very lucky that I have a great office. We have great office staff, support staff. We have great attorneys in the office as well. Many experienced attorneys that do great work. And so far it's been fantastic, and I certainly look forward to working with all of you and appearing at these meetings throughout my tenure. I'll give a little bit of an update. Some of you may know we did have a prosecutor leave the office. Her last day was this last Monday. So we do have an open position that has been posted. A little update on that, and this is a potential challenge that I see moving forward through this year, is that position, the position the prosecutor left, full-time 1.0 position, fully funded through the state. I have another prosecutor in the office who is currently 0.4 full-time funded through the state, and then 0.6 ARPA funded. So it's a 1.0 position, but 0.6 of it is ARPA. I also have a 0.4 ARPA position right now that's unfilled. I've been in contact with a few attorneys that I think would potentially be interested in filling that, helping out part-time. Trouble with the ARPA positions is that those are going away in July, or they are set to. So that'll be a challenge to ultimately hire somebody for that position when they have the understanding, of course, that by July, or by the end of July, that position will go down to 0.4 unless the state agrees to fully fund those ARPA positions. That has been our request through the state, is that the state does fully fund the ARPA positions. So for us, that would be, of course, that 0.6 to keep that position a full 1.0. Also fund that 0.4. We did also ask that, in addition to funding that 0.4 part-time ARPA position right now, that they essentially make that into a fully funded 1.0 position as well. Whether that happens or not, to be determined. I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic that the state will take that on. But ultimately, if they do not, we're going to be left with a 0.4 state-funded position. We'll lose the 0.6 ARPA. We'll lose the 0.4 ARPA part-time that we have as well. So currently, we're functioning at 5. Last year's workload analysis by the state indicates that essentially we need 8 full-time attorneys within the office, and we're currently at 5. So 5 attorneys doing the work of 8, that creates a challenge. But like I said, we have great attorneys in the office, a ton of experience. I'm confident that even with one of the prosecutors recently leaving, that everyone will be able to fill in that gap for the time being. And I'm hopeful. I've received some applications already for the open position. They are, I should say, they're going to be new grads that have applied that will graduate in May from law school. But the position was just posted on Monday, so I'm hopeful that we'll continue to receive applications. I've always said in my time as a prosecutor, Washington County has been one of those counties that is in the top tier that folks want to come and work at. And I think that's because they know they have oftentimes they'll have the support of the county board, great law enforcement to work with as well. But it's going to be a challenge. I anticipate it being a challenge given that the .6 ARPA is set to run out in July. With that being said, with the 5 prosecutors that we do have in the office, like I said, great experience, great work ethic, great support staff as well that helps us every step of the way. So I'm confident moving forward that we'll still be able to prosecute cases to the fullest extent. I will note as well that workload analysis from last year indicates that our office should essentially be at 8 full-time positions. I anticipate, with essentially my philosophy in prosecution, I anticipate our caseload increasing as well. So we, of course, won't get that analysis until the middle of this year, the workload analysis from the state on what they anticipate our needs are. But I do anticipate our workloads increasing. And so, frankly, 8 is probably low. But like I said, we're doing great work. Even in the week and a half that I've been here, it's been an absolute pleasure working with the folks in the office. And moving forward, I know we're going to do great work. And so, and I will keep you updated every step of the way. So again, I appreciate you having me. And again, I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
And if there's any questions, I can certainly.
Any questions from the committee?
Can you just help me understand, are all those prosecutors funded by the state right now?
Right now we have 5 full-time prosecutors that are funded by the state. Then we have a .4 position that's funded by the state as well. The ARPA federal funds, but it goes, it's essentially funneled through the state. We do have a .2, and I can give a little background on this to the best of my understanding. We do have a .2 position that's actually county funded through the state. That has gone unfilled. Essentially, my understanding was in the middle of last year, I believe there was discussion that ARPA was going to end middle of last year. Then it got extended to December. Now it's been extended to July. When ARPA was potentially going to end middle of last year, I believe Mark Benson made a request to the county to fund .2 of a position to ensure that the prosecutor in that .4 position would be at a .6 and ultimately be able to obtain benefits being at a .6. But currently, it's 5 full-time state-funded, .4 state-funded, .6 ARPA, and an additional .4 ARPA, and then .2 that's county-funded. But again, that hadn't been filled because ARPA was ultimately extended, so that .6 didn't need to be, that .2 didn't need to be utilized.
Okay.
I hope that made sense.
No, I follow you. I'm just curious, is that the norm that your office, and other counties are funded through the state, or do counties fund positions as well? Full-time prosecutor positions?
Prosecutors are funded through the state. That's how it should be. Now, a lot of counties have made requests for their counties to fund additional prosecutors because, frankly, when we get this workload analysis that says we need 8 full-time prosecutors, we're at 5. Based on that workload, a lot of counties have gone, or a lot of DAs, I believe, have gone to their counties or county boards and said, hey, we're overwhelmed in the office. We need more prosecutors, and they ultimately ask the county board to fund positions. In Fond du Lac, I believe we have at least 1 county-funded position, and that's it's essentially because the workload has increased so significantly over the years. But it should be the state's responsibility to take that on.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they don't always do that.
Yeah. That's what I was looking for, that answer, so thanks.
Thank you for that thorough explanation. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
And we're glad you're here and appreciate your attitude and appreciate that things are going well to start with and look forward to great things in the future. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 3B on the agenda, staffing update. And for that, we welcome Sheriff Schulteis. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, committee. Thank you very much. This will be a very, very quick update. Usually when we have an addition of a position, we go through a county board process through your committee, through the county board. This one is a little unique because it didn't cost us any more money. In fact, it's probably going to end up saving us a little bit of money. So what we did is we promoted Angela Blair from communications sergeant to communications lieutenant. And there's a reason for that. As you know, we are going through some monumental changes in dispatch with the consolidation of both Hartford and Germantown right now. The way our configuration was for years, I think probably since 2010, is the staffing in there for supervisors. There was 2 communications sergeants and then the rest of the dispatch staff. We had one very senior sergeant that left with 30-some years of experience, and which left a vacancy. It was during that time of consolidation where our staffing was very, very challenging on the floor. So what we opted to do is we promoted a sergeant with the understanding that that position was going to remain on the floor until we could get the staffing to where we needed, where we could transition that individual from the floor to supervision. The plan didn't work out quite as well as we'd hoped. She decided to leave to go to the private sector, which I don't hold against anyone. So we're in the quandary now. We are left with one supervisor, a sergeant, and this monumental task of doing the consolidation. So our options were, do we do the same type of thing, and which we didn't have a great experience, or do we do something a little different? Everyone during this consolidation process, from the dispatchers that are working many more shifts, off days, training more and more people, the supervisors that were doing a tremendous amount of logistical work, and you know how much work the captain of administration has been doing on that. What I also recognized is the sergeant position that is in there was doing much more than first line supervision. It was clearly lieutenant work. She wasn't, in addition to doing the first line supervision, she was doing all sorts of coordination, and it really was lieutenant type work. So what we opted to do through work with the county executive's office is we didn't create a new position, we just reclassified the sergeant position. So that became a lieutenant. And I'll be very honest, the fiscal impact, she worked a ton of overtime. Sergeants are non-exempt employees, so we pay overtime. Lieutenants are exempt employees that don't have overtime. They're paid a little more because of that. So that the fiscal impact of that really was not that great. In addition to that, we have not filled that current sergeant position. It remains vacant, so we are saving wages in that respect. The other part of it that we were able to do is a little unique, is we created shift leads on each of the 3 shifts. It's not a promotion, it's an appointment per shift, and what those shift leads are designed to do is to help the lieutenant now with some of the more minor administrative work that the sergeants used to do, so scheduling overtime, time cards, quality assurance, where we kind of evaluate calls. So it actually gave some of our dispatchers kind of another opportunity in the agency. So it was kind of a win-win. At some point, we're going to have to fill that the vacant sergeant position, but that probably is going to have to be done closer to when the final Germantown consolidation is done.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? I just have one quick one.
Sure.
How do we have open positions? And you said there when we finished consolidation with Germantown, we would fill a position then. At this point, how many openings do we have to function ideally?
Captain, can you? 6 short. We're currently 6 short. But we are actively interviewing, we're actively doing some backgrounds now. We think we have some very, very good candidates. But it's a challenge where we'll have, one person leave and then one step forward, 2 steps back type of thing.
So in the interim, we're basically covering the manpower needs with overtime. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I appreciate that our employees are flexible that way and willing to do that.
Everyone understands the importance of it, and it really is a team effort on everyone's part.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Item 3B, staffing update, medical examiner Debbie Stadola.
Debbie was appointed, good morning, Mr. Chair.
Good
Members of the committee. Thank you for coming out in the cold weather. Nice and warm in here, though. So Debbie was recently appointed by the county executive in late December, effective for January 1st. So she is now our medical examiner officially. So that's just a simple discussion point just to notify you that her appointment has been made official.
Very good, thank you. And we appreciate all the work you've done for us in the past and congratulate you on the new position. Welcome, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you, guys.
Item 3D, medical examiner contract with Waukesha update.
Yes, that contract was finally codified December 30th, effective for 1/1 of 25, thanks to county attorney's diligent efforts. So we are under contract with Waukesha County presently.
Are there any highlights of the new contract that you'd care to share with us? That
There are stricter parameters that would hopefully mitigate some challenges that we've had in the past. For example, 90-day time frame to complete 90% of the autopsies that they receive. So that's one parameter. We've had some struggle in the past receiving autopsy reports for our constituency, which compromises the medical examiner's office here in Washington County. So hopefully Waukesha understands those. I mean, they have to because they signed the agreement. So, and we will hold them to that specifically.
Very good. Anything else? Any other questions from the committee?
I got a question. Is that a 1-year contract?
It is a 1-year contract, automatically renewable.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 3E, training for staff, CPR, AED, fire extinguisher, Narcan.
Yes, that begins today. So that is a county workforce training mechanism, an in-service, if you will, for hands-first CPR, automatic external defibrillation, Narcan, and fire extinguisher operations. We've invited chief elected officials, county supervisors, if they want to participate. It's for 2 days. We have limited space, obviously, because every portion of every building is being utilized. But I'm happy to report that as of this morning, we have 170 people signed up for that. This is the first in-service that I'm putting on, but plan on having multiple in-services throughout the calendar year.
So it's voluntary for employees?
It is voluntary.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Thank you. Thanks for setting that up. That's very important.
It is very important.
Item 3F, training for staff, active shooter.
So this training, I'm working with Sheriff Schulteis and his department. This is for our county workforce. Unfortunately, we have to train up on this in the event that I know the Sheriff's Department does active shooter training within their own department, but this is specifically for our county workforce within our county buildings in the event that we actually do have an active shooter to train up our staff as to what to do in the event we actually have an incident such as that.
Any questions from the committee? Had we ever done this before, or is this completely new?
Our SWAT team does active shooter training inside this facility once or twice a year, but that is more designed for our officers. We invite county staff to take part in the training as actors, but it's not the same as training the staff on how to react to a shooter. So it's kind of a yes and no answer.
It's the other side of the coin, really.
Correct.
Yep.
And
Very
it's
good.
not, the active shooter training for our county workforce is not, it's not going to be a 4-hour training seminar. It's really to identify what they need to do in the event that an active shooter is identified in the building itself. And I could talk for quite a long time about how we alert our county workforce or the county as a whole with an alert system that we're working towards that's going to be coming your way, hopefully, in discussion regarding that. But it's not an elaborate training. It's just, this is what you need to do in the event that an active shooter is identified.
So will you go basically office by office and basically, yeah, if we identify the threat here, you go there, or shelter in place? Or
It's like a 3-word training cycle. If there's an active shooter identified, run, hide, fight. And, it's keep your composure.
Yep.
The master plan has some considerable upgrades to our security within the county facility itself. So I'm looking very forward to that as well.
Very good. Thank you. Then item 3G, training for law enforcement staff, fire service training, et cetera.
I'm sorry. So this is more comprehensive. It's not so much training for law enforcement specifically, but it's more comprehensive with all of our county partners within the protective services, within a mass casualty plan, mass fatality plan, but that incorporates all sorts of emergency incidents, and putting that plan together, having a flow chart incident command system with a unified command, and having a tabletop exercise to start, but then putting a more comprehensive exercise together. And I'd like to do that annually with all of our law enforcement and fire service professionals, along with our emergency management division.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? All right. Moving on to item 3H, Slinger Fire Department equipment purchase.
Yes, that is, the contract is currently being circulated between Slinger Fire Department and then the county executive, but this was approved through the Land and Use Development Committee, so we're moving forward with that function. Just wanted to update you on that.
Very good. Thank you. 3I, Fire EMS grant update.
Yes, this is the grant that the county board and the county executive put together in 2024. The first tranche was issued in '24. The second tranche is going to be issued late January, early February. So I just want to inform you of that as well for your representative districts.
And what exactly does that grant cover, or maybe not exactly, but generally?
So that is to support our local fire and EMS agencies. And in whatever fashion that those agencies determine those funds are for. The county executive, along with the county board, decided that when the Washington County Chiefs came to him and says, we need some help, he reacted. Subsequently, the county board reacted, and those grants were administered through an algorithm, through a formula, that each municipality would receive some funding through the county, $1 million per year.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions from the committee?
Yes, sir.
Is there any oversight on this, so the departments that receive this are the municipalities, they can do whatever they feel necessary with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else? Moving on to item 3J. I don't like to have to do this, but as we were sitting here before the meeting this morning, there were at least 2 committee members who said that they were not aware that the actual resolution had been posted. Due to the delay in making the resolution available to the committee, this item will not be acted on this morning. We'll push it off for another month. It's unfortunate because it is, I am in favor of the gist of the resolution, but due to the fact that I'm aware that not all committee members had the opportunity to review it, it will be delayed. Are there any questions or comments from the committee?
Was it not available, or just?
It was posted late yesterday afternoon, it's my understanding. And as of this morning,
Because I got it, that's why I was wondering if some people didn't get it.
You had to look for it
Oh, okay,
at the end of the day.
okay,
Yeah, I see it's on there now.
Yeah.
Right.
okay.
Is
Thanks.
that involved that we can't go through it now?
It's more of the principle that it's not urgent that this be adopted today. And if you want to adopt it this morning, we could take a 10-minute recess while committee members review, and we'll come back into session and look at it then, if that's your desire.
There's no rush about it, though?
It's not my understanding that there's a rush. Sheriff, is there a rush on this one?
We'll just table it, in my opinion. then.
We'll delay and postpone until next month. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you for your attendance.